WWE 2k24's MyFaction is terrible, and it makes the whole game worse for even existing. I know this might be weird considering I run a channel which hosts a lot of 2k24 content, specifically the Universe mode, but let me explain. This game mode, WWE 2k24's MyFaction, is utter poison to this game, and is the main reason a lot of people either don't buy the game, they quit the game, or they continue playing hoping the devs will put 1 ounce of effort into anything else. Let's use an example of a MyFaction card. Let's use the Final Boss Rock card as an example. Someone who was the focal part of this year's WrestleMania build. But if you want to play this version of The Rock, you have to spend upwards of $200 to play as The Rock with a black tank top on. And at the very exact moment when 2K25 is announced, all of the money you spent on this digital trading card is literal trash. You might as well just throw it straight into the garbage can and move on. So we're going to take a look at this Reddit post here that I just found looking this up. This was posted a couple months ago when it came out. It does have some interesting facts here. Since the punches and promo cards are now in the card market, you can now get the Rock Persona card for below $400. This is considered a deal in the MyFaction realm. $400 or below is a steal. Now let's do some math to see how much it'll cost to get him. And then they break down the cost here by the in-game currency. Sami Zayn costs 117,000 VC or 130,000 MyFaction points. Kevin Owens cost 117,000 or 130 MyFaction points. Bray Wyatt costs 87,000 VC or 97,000 MyFaction points. Jive Owens, which I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even know what that is. But again, we have 60,000 VC and 75,000 MyFaction points. And then The Miz costs the exact same amount. So now you can see they have a cost breakdown here. 117 plus 117 plus 87, 67, and 67. Well, that equals about $500,000 VC. To get that much VC, you would need to pay $99.99 for the 400,000 VC pack, because of course they have a fucking pack to give you this exact amount, and then another $20 to get the 6,700 VC pack. Add those together and you'll be spending $119, which is a deal because you will end up saving $280 if you open the packs to get him. The other option is to grind to unlock them all for free, but by the time you do that, 2K25 will be out and have that Rock model already in the game. Now, we of course don't know this to be true. For all we know, they'll make another Final Boss Rock card for the next game, and he won't actually be in the game still. And then the last line, if you're like Will Ospreay and can't handle the grind, little AEW shot there, you can go the easy route and download the modded attire for The Rock by What's the Status. Now let's look at that last line a little deeper there. You can download this on the community creations. This, in theory, is true. You could download a Final Boss Rock that actually looks better and has the correct attire on the community creations. But very suspiciously, every time 2K releases some new half-ass MyFaction content, the items in the creation suite are locked, making all creations using these parts either content damaged when you try to download them, or you now have to buy whatever contains that creation part to access those creations. So if you bought this game when it came out at $60, you had all the creation parts that came in the game originally. Now, in November, because they have released MyFaction parts and DLC that you might not even care about and you didn't buy at all, but you have less in the game because of that. They are taking things away that were in the game at launch because of MyFaction and half-ass DLC. And now it's time I have to mention the DLC a little bit. Another half-ass lazy excuse for you to have to spend more money on the game to get wrestlers who are already in WWE. Keep in mind, the Final Boss Rock was instrumental to the build of this year's WrestleMania, yet you can only get him if you pay upwards of $200 to $400. Or you risk corrupting the save data for your game to try to download one creation which you won't know is damaged until it's too late. Some of these packs make no fucking sense, not even in the slightest. I get that Pat McAfee is an announcer, but what the fuck does the rest of the Pat McAfee show have to do with WWE? This could have been a DLC which starred Pat McAfee and maybe featured some NXT superstars. And it doesn't just stop there. Let's say you're okay with the Pat McAfee pack. You downloaded it. It's fine. It's whatever. It's a stupid DLC. It's just meant to be fun. But what about the other MyFaction and DLC that is released where the superstars don't have accurate attires, they don't have entrance music, or they have the generic Trons? These are things that I never understand because WWE owns all of these things. If these superstars can be in the game, everything with them, like their music and videos, should also be in the game. And I'm not even saying you should add them for free, which you should, because free updates would keep this game alive and it wouldn't die 2 months into its release. But even if you are going to charge for them, make it something worth paying for. A half-assed looking CAW with no music and no video is essentially just a community creation. And community creations are free. That is, until 2K figures out how to charge for them. Now, to compare this to another game, I want to use another game that features roughly the same card trading system as this game. So I'm going to use Madden 25 as an example. And the reason I'm using Madden 25 is because I recently started playing again when the new NFL season started. And I've noticed a couple things playing in the game that are very different from 2K24. Obviously, one's in the NFL and one's about wrestling. So there's that difference. But there's also the difference that the community creations inside Madden actually work. You can go download old rosters like a 2018 NFL roster or a 2012 roster. You can download rosters that have legends in them. You can download teams now from the team builder that have custom logos on them. And when you download them, the game doesn't randomly put those logos in places they don't belong, unlike 2K24's community creations. Keep in mind, a whole Madden roster is around 3,000 players. In 2K24, you're lucky to get one community creation that works. And that's after about 5 minutes of trying. I mean, it takes around 5 minutes just to get to the Creation Center from the main menu, despite it only being 2 tabs over. How do you let your game be outclassed by EA? Madden is not a franchise that is without problems. We all know generally what the sports game problem is. Their yearly releases, they barely have any content or new content year to year. Really, the only thing is updated rosters, and they change how the UI looks. And that's the same for 2K24. And also, Madden doesn't feature bullshit half-ass DLC. If you want to boot up 2K and set up a whole universe mode, you're looking at about 1 hour of work at least. This is assuming that everything works out for you. The server doesn't kick you out every 5 minutes. The creation you download is not content damaged due to the parts being used in a MyFaction or DLC character. When you do download the creation, you're hoping that all the logos are in the right place and they're not all mixed up or just not included at all. Here's a picture of CM Punk that I downloaded where he has no tattoos whatsoever. If the creation that you download is content damaged, there is a possibility it will disrupt your whole save file. It doesn't matter if you downloaded this creation and then added it to your universe mode. Just downloading the creation can corrupt your save file completely. Now repeat this process until you have about a full roster of superstars for your shows in universe mode. Let's say you just run one show. You're going to need about 25 to 30 superstars at the minimum. So now you have to repeat this process 25 to 30 times. It's not like Madden where all the superstars are captured in a save file with all of their custom renders, all of their names and stats and ratings. All of these are included in a Madden roster file, meaning that all you have to do is go to the Creation Center, click on what you want, download it, and then you can play and you're right in the game. Imagine if you went to Madden, downloaded a complete 2012 roster file with all accurate NFL players on their teams with their accurate ratings and everything, but when you go in to look at them, everybody on the roster is bald. Okay, now let's try this. Imagine if you went to the Madden Creation Center to download that same 2012 roster, but when you click download, it said content damaged. And that's because there is a MyFaction card of Aaron Rodgers, so they have pulled his creations from the Creation Center. So now you can have the 2012 roster, but you will not have Aaron Rodgers. Do you see where I'm getting at here? This makes no fucking sense. Even when you compare it to another game that does almost the exact same thing with their card system, it doesn't make any sense. I've been running a universe mode on my channel that is a recreation of WWE in 2007. This mode, to set up completely, took me several days. This is after all the glitches that I've mentioned and going in manually to the creation center and having to fix superstars on an individual level, not because the creation is bad, but because when you download the creation, it fucks it up completely. And even after you finish the setup and I started posting videos on it, we're about 5 parts in and the universe mode has already started to glitch out. This is without me adding anything else to the mode after finish the initial setup. Anything you do in this game has the potential to ruin a save file that has nothing to do with what you just did. I was running a WCW universe on the channel a little earlier in the year. Until the mode had so many glitches, I stopped it so I could go in to fix everything, and this is what happened. The whole mode killed itself. Every superstar is now content damaged, all of their renders are gone, and all of them are bald. And why did this happen? Why did my WCW universe mode lag out completely? Well, that's because I tried to download a WrestleMania 40 arena. Yes, the same WrestleMania 40 that happened the exact year that WWE2k24 released. Downloading that one arena, which has nothing to do with the individual universe mode, glitches out the whole save file. So I just want to ask a general question to 2K fans. Does that sound fun to you? Do you want to have your time wasted to the point where you can't even really play the game? In Madden, you can download a whole 3,000 player roster with portraits, individual players with their own ratings, and all you have to do is go to the creation center, download it, and you're ready to play. In 2K, if you want to do that exact same thing, you have to download your whole roster by individual person, hope that none of it breaks. If it does break, you have to fix it, despite whether or not you know how to work the creation center or not, thus defeating the point of downloading creations in the first place if I just have to remake it from scratch every time I want it. And I get comments all the time that ask me, how do I set up my universe modes? How do I set them up to be error accurate like the one I'm running now, which is a 2007 recreation with mostly accurate attires and arenas? And my answer will be, I do it the same way you would do it. I clench my butthole and hope that this game works long enough for me to be able to pull it off. You know your game is shit when EA has a better system than you. I don't know, I feel like I'm rambling at this point. I just want these games to be good. I love wrestling. I've been a wrestling fan all of my life. Wrestling is sick. Why do our games have to be complete ass wipe?